Whose version of freedom is better, Luffy's or Eren's? Now that some time has passed and the storm settled between these two fandoms, I can finally give my own insight on the matter. I gotta say, I love both of these series. I started watching Attack on Titan when I was entering middle school, watching weekly with terrible audio and quality on YouTube, like any other person, before discovering what pirating is. And when the manga was about to end, I took it upon myself to start watching One Piece. Why? Because I want to keep myself distracted from finishing the final 3 chapters so I can wait for it to be animated. But as soon as I saw that last chapter come out, I speed ran through the chapters. Little did I know I would begin my One Piece adventure, and 3 years later, I am still loving this story. Both these series are amazing. Reading Eren's Freedom panel had me like,
so good and tasty.
I felt Isayama did an amazing job embodying freedom to that of a child. A child has no limits placed upon them, being completely free and ignorant of what the world has in store. There is no greater feeling than to be ignorant. To be a kid again would be amazing. Although, something felt ominous about Eren's freedom, but couldn't quite put my finger on it until Luffy's Gear 5 came out. When I started watching One Piece, I thought it would be about a silly cartoon of a pirate's adventure, but it was so much more than just that. It tackles so many real-world themes such as slavery, racism, oppression, justice, and that's just to name a couple. I was surprised a manga could clearly define what the issue is, not sugarcoating it whatsoever, such as Robin's backstory with brutal reality of genocide and censorship of history. To obliterate an island for the sake of silencing a group of people seeking the truth is absurd. While watching One Piece, I got to understand Luffy's character, even before Gear 5 came out. Time and time again, he did not care about anyone's past, but rather what kind of person they are now, focusing on the present rather than staying in the past. He cares about people's dreams more than anything. Why else would he go so far to save Robin, who wished to die because she has been told to do so, or become Chopper's first friend? Even with Zoro, he gave him the choice to join his crew or be executed by the world government. Luffy gave them the choice and cared deeply enough to give them the freedom to make a decision, to declare their dream rather than to suppress it. That's when I realized what was off about Eren's perspective on freedom. While Eren had a negative connotation on freedom, Luffy had a positive one. They are both two sides of the same coin, both wanting to protect their friends while also chasing their desires. However, go about different ways to achieve it. Although fantasy, we have to take into account their differences in storytelling and setting, with Eren being more realistic and Luffy being, well, Toon Force. Either way, freedom is expressed differently and we'll see whose is better.
これが自由だ。
Eren at a young age felt oppressed by the walls, not knowing that despite what they do to get rid of the Titans, they'll still be persecuted by the outside world. He never had the chance of being free because of the Titans oppressing mankind. Vowing to eliminate them would allow him to finally be free. Even when he learned of his Titans' powers, he thought the powers were his alone, but even then, his father forced upon him this ability to carry out his plans. Being placed under watch of the Survey Corps, Reiner kidnapping him, being told what to do with his powers, seeing his people be persecuted, only having 13 years to live. All his life, Eren has never truly had freedom. The ability to do what he wants without anyone stopping him. When finding out the world had already been explored, it crushed his dreams. Eren from time to time repeats the same phrase. 戦わなければ勝てない。戦え。戦え。When it came down to Mikasa's will to live, he tells her to fight, to live, to kill, then be killed. Like Luffy, he cares about his friends, doing anything to free or protect them, no matter the cost. Eren yearned for freedom all his life, destroying anyone who would dare take that away from him. Eren starts the rumbling for not going along with Zeke's euthanization plan, realizing he will crush other people's freedom, their dreams, which sounds kind of dumb when you think about about it. You commit genocide rather than let your people go extinct peacefully. I mean, I'm not saying Zeke's plan was any good anyway. Still kind of messed up to take people's ability to reproduce. But wouldn't it gotten rid of the Titans in a more peaceful manner? Doesn't matter, because it would have left a lot of unresolved issues, bad storytelling, and a whole bunch of fans upset by a stupid and ridiculous ending. Either way, Eren did the rumbling so his people could have the chance to fight on equal terms with the rest of the world once he finished. Eren seems to find that the only solution to his problems is by using violence, no matter the situation, which makes sense because he is so dense. His views only really apply to him because it is how he views the world, not how everyone should view the world. If everybody had Eren's mentality, I don't think the human race would have gotten very far. Finally, the reason why Eren would even go through with the rumbling is because he's a slave to freedom. All his life, he's been chasing this dream, this freedom to do what he wants without any restrictions. In Plato's Republic, Socrates says, the immoral person literally becomes a slave of his desire, meaning those who live with low morality will be controlled by their own desires, despite how good or bad they are. Like an addiction, Eren never stops thinking about being free from the walls, free from persecution, free from the Titans. Unaware that this desire is controlling him, he goes to such lengths to achieve his goal, even if it means that he must kill 80% of the human race. The dream that Armin and Eren shared of having an uninhabited explored world was shattered when they learned of the truth. That is why he had no choice but to go through with the rumbling, because he could not control his own desires due to the lack of morals. Eren could not accept the reality that his life's dream will be nothing more than a fairy tale, and wanted to see this dream play out no matter what. Attack on Titan has a realistic set of characters, unlike other series. It does not pull any punches when it comes to who lives or who dies. Dealing with issues of discrimination, genocide, and love does not change the fact that Eren's perspective of freedom is dark. Taking away others' freedom to keep your own is already hypocritical in itself. Freedom cannot be taken away just to keep your own. You could argue Eren had no other choice. I mean, bro really did try so many times to change the future with his Attack Titan's powers and still couldn't do jack. Still, the term of freedom is used negatively either way, no matter what Eren does. Like Luffy, they are not the brightest. When Eren tells Armin the truth of his plan, he says,
バカだからだ。どこにでもいるありふれたバカが力を持っちまったからこんな結末を迎えることしかできなかった。
and without consulting anyone, he didn't know what to do, so the rumbling happened. Unlike Luffy, Eren is willing to take anyone's freedom away if it means his friends, his people, or himself lose the chance to experience it themselves. I will say, while rewatching the finale to make this video, something caught my attention. Although Eren and Armin had their dream broken, they have one more final conversation before he dies, showing him the seashell they found at the beach. Just like how he talked to Zeke, he reminded Eren that while chasing his dream of being free, he missed out on having these special moments with his friends. To be born solely to have the purpose of running with Mikasa and him towards that tree was worth more than anything to Armin. Even though Armin's dream had died, he did not let it control him like it did with Eren. With Armin, he makes Eren realize that although their dream is gone, it is not everything that life has to offer. To create these memories, feelings, and experience it is the beauty of being able to live, to be free. Almost as if Armin and Eren had similar views, but Eren kept pushing to find something greater in the process. He let himself be a slave to what he sought to destroy.
これが俺の最高地点だギアフィフス
Luffy is the embodiment of freedom. What do I mean by that? In episode 1 of One Piece, we meet Kobe, who is small, weak, nerdy, and scared of Alvida, who's got him working like a dog. When Kobe finds Luffy, Luffy asks Kobe why he continues to stick with Alvida.
アルビダ様に見つかったらって考えると足がすくんで怖くてとても。なんだその上根性なしか。俺お前嫌いだな。
When Kobe asks Luffy if he's scared of dying searching for the One Piece, Luffy says,
が決めたんだから。そのために戦って死ぬんなら別にいい。
although weak, he has a dream of someday becoming a Marine, slowly building up courage to take his first step toward that dream. Finally standing up for himself, Luffy laughs at Kobe as he's about to get smoked by her. However, Luffy helps Kobe out, one-tapping her because he saw what kind of man Kobe really is. A man who is now willing to die for his dream. When introducing Zoro for the first time, Kobe is hesitant on meeting him because he's a criminal, while Luffy thinks otherwise. He checks to see for himself what kind of man Zoro really is, a weakling or a powerful foe. Like Kobe, Luffy gives Zoro the choice of either joining his crew or be executed by the world government. Time and time again, Luffy has shown Zoro, Usopp, Sanji, Nami, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brook, and Jinbei that it is possible to free themselves of their problems. When visiting Alabasta or Dressrosa, Luffy saw how much suffering there was because of how the new rulers oppressed these people, and after he left, they were freed. It's as if he were a liberator. Luffy never killed any of his enemies. As Oda stated, that's Luffy's refusal to kill stems from his belief in giving his enemies a second chance to pursue their dreams. Luffy understands he can't take someone's life because that would be the end of their dream, despite what side they may be on. Yet, he can't just do nothing when he sees someone who is struggling to survive, who is being oppressed. In One Piece, oppression has existed for the longest time, starting with the world government and celestial dragons, making anyone who has no royal authority. We see how miserable the lives of these people are, especially in the land of Wano, where Kaido has oppressed the citizens to do his bidding, making it a wasteland. Luffy promises Otama he would defeat Kaido, not only because it aligns with his objectives, but because he can't stand to see so many people's dreams be taken away. He believes the very thought of someone ruining the dream of another is unacceptable. So when fighting Kaido for the first time, he is defeated. Like in Sabori Island or Marine 4, Luffy realizes the difference of power between himself and Kaido, unable to do anything in his current state. Many would have lost the will to fight back after losing such a battle, giving up. But not Luffy. Instead, he trains himself enough to be able to fight Kaido one-on-one again because the battle is not over. Luffy is an idiot, no doubt about that, often leaving the Straw Hats to send someone with him so he doesn't do anything stupid. Yet, he still finds a way. In Sabori Island, he breaks down watching his crew vanish before his eyes. Yet, despite what happens, he remains optimistic, knowing they will come back even stronger than before. So even when all hope is lost after fighting Kaido, he remains optimistic, pushing himself further than before to overcome himself. Through Luffy's actions, we see how we don't need to pity ourselves, making ourselves think that the battle is lost even before it has ended. We can fight back even if it costs our life, because after all, it's better to die fighting for your dream than not fight at all. Luffy has inspired not just myself, but to many others that we are able to take action, take control of our own life despite the odds. His ambition to become king of the pirates is solely because the king of the seas must be the freest person in this world. After being defeated for the final time, he awakens his true power, becoming the liberator the world needed. The defeat of Kaido freed the citizens of Wano from hunger, slavery, dictatorship, and misery, letting anyone to chase their dreams be possible again. Gear 5th is the final nail on the straw, that Luffy is not just some pirate, but a liberator. That is why he is called Sanganika, a warrior of liberation, explaining why the world government fears him. To lose the ability to control others scares them, so they try anything to stop Luffy from ruining their own selfish desires. Luffy is not some noble character, but his acts of heroism represent that placing labels on good or bad people do not exist. It is the content of someone's actions that define their character, define who they really are, making Luffy's representation of freedom positive compared to that of Attack on Titan. Although the setting of One Piece is cartoonish, it tackles multiple issues we find in our real world, finding ways to deal with them despite the odds. Luffy believes everyone deserves to fight for their dreams, even if they are a bad person, except they will be knocked out if they try to stop someone else's dream. Through Luffy, we get the positive perspective of freedom and what I believe is to be the better version of the two. Luffy is the embodiment of freedom. Everyone has different perspectives on what freedom looks like. Look at the Democrats and Republicans bickering about being oppressed if one takes power over the other. What I believe freedom to be is the ability to do anything, physically, mentally, and spiritually, without having the mind of doubt, the ability to stand for yourself, and the will to keep going towards your dream despite what pushes you back. To accept, learn, and grow from knowing the real hard truth is what I believe true freedom is all about, rather than living in the same lies over and over. Luffy and Eren are not the brightest, but where they diverge is their views on freedom, where Eren chases something greater than himself, failing to see what he has already. Luffy cares about what kind of person someone is through their actions, not their words. Whether they are doing everything in their power to achieve their dreams, even when overwhelmed. Luffy's freedom is the freedom we should aim for, being more optimistic than Eren's, who becomes a slave to it. Luffy's freedom to pursue your dreams without destroying another's is what I call real freedom, which is way better than Eren's. I will cover Luffy's character and One Piece's issues as a whole in another future video, since freedom is one of the many concepts Oda covers. I love both of these series very much, so no hate towards Hajime Isayama and Ichiro Oda. Like any fandom, there's toxicity, but please respect both views on the representation of freedom by these mangaka. They're both amazing stories on their own and shouldn't be compared, because it's like comparing apples and oranges. Sure, you might think one is better than the other, but they're completely different fruits, unlike red apples with green apples. You can compare these two fruits because they are the same fruit, just have different tastes. Anyway, thank you for watching, and leave a like if you enjoyed, and comment on what you think of this video or views on freedom itself. It's my first video doing a video analogy ever, so hopefully my views become more clear as time goes on. Anyway, thank you all and see you next time.